it's so easy to feel isolated and to feel disconnected. And song is a way for us to bring together our stories, our history, the context that we're coming from. And as Sharon Rebar, our cultural strategies director at Kairos Center, often reminds us, song, when you sing together, it's scientifically proven that your hearts begin to align, your breath begins to align, and that we're in the same place at the same time. And this is so important for movement, especially as dissent is being increasingly criminalized. Today's session, we only have 50 minutes. I mean, technically now we only have 35 minutes. We're going to, this session is not necessarily going to be a teach-in about the crises, the genocide that's taking place in Gaza, but it's actually a way that we're going to share some of how we've been building community, how we've been connecting our struggles to one another across lines of division in this moment, and how we've also been able to take action together and to create a community of safety using song in our movement. And so this is a very abridged version of how we facilitate song circles in our community. So if you feel like something's missing, that's because it is. But we want to today just give a little bit of an example of how we share and how we bring folks together. And so we're going to start the next song. The next song that we're going to share is a simple song. The lyrics are, "We Remember You." "We Remember You" is a song that was written by the Flowbots on the 1-year anniversary of Michael Brown's murder in Ferguson, Missouri. And the Flowbots wrote this song as a way to remind our communities how important that we are, how important it is for us to struggle for one another, and that for those who are taken from us due to state violence, due to militarism, due to poverty, that we will never forget them. And as we say, as Mother Jones says, we have to pray for the dead and fight like hell for the living. And so when they first sang this song, they sang it and actually read the names of people who were killed as a result of state violence, and those who were incarcerated under as political prisoners. And we've been using this song, connecting with Flowbots in this moment, and we've been using this song to ground ourselves and to remind ourselves of those who have been murdered in this ongoing genocide. And it's super important. One of the leaders, Palestinian leaders of the Adalah Justice Project, Sandra Tamari, is someone that we organize very closely with the Kairos Center. And she always stresses how important it is for us to ground ourselves in who we're struggling for, not just those who have been taken for us, but that there are still people who are alive that we have to be fighting for. And so Pauline's going to lead us in this song, and while we sing together, we're also going to share a poem.
We remember you. We remember you.
In Jerusalem, and I mean within the ancient walls, I walked from one epic to another without a memory to guide me. The prophets are over there sharing stories, sharing the history of the holy, ascending to heaven and returning less discouraged and melancholy, because love and peace are holy and are coming to town. I was walking down a slope and thinking to myself, how do the narrators disagree over what light said about a stone? Is it from a dimly lit stone that wars flare up? I walk in my sleep. I stare in my sleep. I see no one behind me. I see no one ahead of me. All this light is for me. I walk. I become lighter. I fly. Then become another. Transfigured words sprout like grass from Isaiah's messenger mouth. If you don't believe, you won't be safe. I walk as though I were another, and my wound a white biblical rose, and my hands like two doves on the cross, hovering and carrying the earth. I don't walk, I fly. I become lighter, transfigured, no place and no time. So who am I? I am no I in a sentient presence, but I think to myself alone. The Prophet Muhammad spoke classical Arabic. And then what? And then what? A woman soldier shouted, "Is that you again? Didn't I kill you?" I said, "You killed me. And I forgot, like you, to die." We remember you. We remember we remember you. We remember you. We remember you. We remember you. This song by the Peace Poets, Ceasefire Now, we'll share with you. We love this song, and one of my favorite memories of this song is with another Palestinian leader, Russia Mubarak, who is part of the Palestinian Feminist Collective. And I was with Russia while we were, organizing some of the actions in DC. And she's such an incredible leader. She had so many family members who have been impacted and have been killed as a result of the violence in Palestine. And she said there's just something about this song that actually just really touches her. And so we wanted to share. Cease, fire, cease, fire, the voice of peace must keep getting higher. Cease, fire, cease, fire. Our children are dying and can't get more dire. Cease, fire, cease, fire. The voice of peace must keep getting higher. Cease, fire, cease, fire. Our children are dying and can't get more dire. Cease, fire, cease, fire. The voice of peace must keep getting higher. Cease, fire, cease, fire. Our children are dying and can't get more dire. One of our, I think the first We Cry Justice artist collective, when folks were creating songs to supplement reading the Bible with the Poor People's Campaign. And an artist that was a part of that initial cohort, Josh Blaine, wrote this song that was based off of a poem by Jewish and Puerto Rican poet Aurora Levins Morales that's called The Red Sea. And Aurora Levins Morales initially wrote this poem, I want to say it was for Passover during one of the times where Gaza was being attacked in the past. And the song The Red Sea, it's we'll have to share the link with you all, but it's really a poem about how we have to honor that mixed multitude of folks that took the Exodus out of slavery in Egypt. And this idea that no one is getting left behind, that we all must go together, and that no one's freedom should be, at, the expense of another's freedom. That we can only get free when everyone is free.
That's right.
And so this song, again, it was created a couple years ago, but it's a song that we've been using in this moment to remind each other how much we need one another, and this idea that no one is getting left behind this time. That is so important. And we've actually been able to use it as a de-escalation in times of action, because for those of you who may have been engaged in some sort of nonviolent direct action in the call for ceasefire and a free Palestine, you might have encountered people who try to disrupt, people who try to pull and detract, pull us away from one another, trying to pit one group of people against one another. And in response to that, we say no one is getting left behind this time.
No one is getting left behind this time.
No one is getting left behind.
No one is getting left behind.
No one is getting left behind this time.
No one is getting left behind this time.
We get there together or never get there at all.
We get there together or never get there at all.
No one is getting left behind this time. No one is getting left behind. No one is getting left behind this time. We get there together, never get there at all. We get there together, never get there at all. We get there together, never get there at all.
Just to remind them, we get there together.
We get there together, never get there at all.
Although we might sing a song maybe 4 or 5 times together in a circle like this, when we're in actions together, you might be singing that song for 10 minutes, because we do believe that no one is getting left behind, and we want people to catch on to this song. Something that I love about using song in actions too, especially when you have you need it for de-escalation, is one of the last times we sang this song, we had an action at Grand Central Station. It was a singing action on Nakba Day, which is the day of remembrance of the Nakba in Palestine in 1948. And we're this big group. Adam and I were there. Misha, Adam's youngest son, and we're singing in Grand Central Station. It's very beautiful, very somber and respectful. And then you have this guy, this Lone Ranger, every time, just come out of nowhere, super aggressive. And he got right here in my face and was yelling. And, for this action, we understood, because of how big Grand Central Station is, that it may be difficult for us to hear one another, but also that we wanted to have songs that we could use strategically to signal to certain points in time. So we had a song that was the signal at the beginning of an action. We had the song that was the signal if we needed to leave Grand Central for whatever reason, because we agreed that it wasn't going to be an arrestable action. And then we had a song, we used No One Is Getting Left Behind, which was a song that we would use if there was someone who came and was aggressive. And so when the guy got in my face, I was like, okay. I put up my 3. Everyone knows 3 was No One Is Getting Left Behind. And we started singing, and so this guy is yelling in my face, but we're just singing. And to just think how silly, this person looks when he's yelling and so angry, and you have a group of people peacefully singing from the heart. It really de-escalates and really deflates. Like, you just look completely silly. But this song comes out of the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa. And it was a song for political prisoners as they were incarcerated many times in solitary confinement. It was a way for them to learn the names of other prisoners as they came in, and as a way to share a message of solidarity so that people know that they aren't alone. Something that I've been thinking about, particularly in this moment as we're struggling for ceasefire, a permanent ceasefire, was a conversation that I had with a dear comrade and friend, Malka Roth, who is a Jewish comrade. And she was sharing about, as we know, we've seen incredible, demonstrations and actions that have been led by our Jewish siblings across the country and around the world. And she was sharing that for some of her friends and family members, they're still afraid to speak out. Because they have a fear of being isolated, of being alone, a fear of losing their friends and family, which has happened to many people. And, we were preparing for an action, and she was just saying, oh gosh, we get emotional. She was just sharing about, she wished that she could tell, everyone that on the other side of that decision to, stand up against genocide and apartheid is this beautiful community of people who are ready to love you, who are going to bring you in, who's going to be your family, and that you won't be alone. That's right. And so I feel like that's just such important, for us to remember as folks are in struggle, and in our various places. Like, I'm in New York now, but I've also lived in rural Tennessee with dirt roads. I felt alone. Courage, courage, my friend, you do not move alone. We will move with you, and sing your spirit home. Last time. Courage, my friend, you do not move alone. We will move with you, and sing your spirit home. So, for folks like Reverend Dr. Liz Theo-Harris, our executive director, Chris Russo, Willie Baptist of the National Union of the Homeless. Back in the 90s, they were a part of a community of welfare families, families on Medicaid, who were impacted by the cuts to welfare under the Clinton administration. And so these families, these communities came together all across the country, and where Reverend Liz and Chris and Willie were in Kensington, Pennsylvania at the time, they formed a community called the Kensington Welfare Rights Union, modeled after the National Welfare Rights Organization. And so the Kensington Welfare Rights Movement Union understood that it wasn't enough just to understand how they were being impacted by the system, but that it was important for them to connect up with other poor and homeless families from across the country to learn the ways that they were being impacted, to exchange stories, but to also build connections, to build relationships, so they can build a movement to end poverty. And so in order to link up, they pulled together some pennies to go on this freedom bus tour and traveling across the country to engage with these communities. And while in North Carolina, they were at a church and they learned this song called Enemy's Camp, or the Devil's Camp. I went down to the enemy's camp and he took back with, So they learned this song, and that night, while at the Highlander Center in Tennessee, I know there's some Tennesseans here, they remixed the song, nice. They remixed the song, so instead of Enemy's Camp, it would be Rich Man's House. And so the lyrics are, I went down to the rich man's house.
I went down to the rich
Rich
man's house.
And I took back what he stole from me.
And I took
Took back what he stole from me.
Took back my dignity.
Took
Took
back
back
my
my
dignity.
dignity.
Took back my humanity.
Took back my humanity.
And now it's under my feet.
And now
Now it's under my feet.
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 Ain't no system gonna walk all over me.
Ain't no system gonna walk all over.
Divest from the companies that were, have been supporting this genocide. One night they took over a building, a student building called Hamilton Hall, and renamed it Hines Hall after Hind, a 4-year-old girl who was left to die in Gaza. And they said, went down to Colombia, took back what they stole from me. You get it, you get it, you get it.
I went down to the rich man's house and I took back what he stole from me.
I took back my dignity.
I took back my humanity. I went down to the rich man's house and I took back what he stole from me. I took back my dignity. Took back my humanity.
Now it's under my feet.
Under my feet. Under my feet. Under my feet. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me.
All right.